What's up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, we're going to be talking about burnout. Before I get into that, I just want to say I want to give a huge, big thank you to everyone that has been subbing. We have been growing at an absolutely insane rate, and I truly cannot thank you guys enough. Like, it feels so good knowing that you guys enjoy the content that I put out, and you use it to help you guys get better at different things. So with that being said, let's keep going, and I'm proud to, have built a community where we can, talk about things like this, and building a community where we're only going to get better. We're really building something different here, guys. So thank you. With that being said, like I said, today we're going to be talking about burnout. Burnout itself is essentially it can be classified as a syndrome, but it's something that happens when you are not managing the stress in any kind of workplace environment, whether it's sports, work, relationships with people. It starts off as just a mild stress, but eventually it can accrue to something, a lot bigger. It can hinder any plan that you have. It can alter, daily life. It can hinder the different things you do in your daily life. And it's a huge setback, and not very many people will talk about it, but today we're going to talk about that and how exactly you get out of a burnout. Now, what exactly causes burnouts? From my experience, I think it's usually from when you are stuck in the same spot and you are not bringing in any kind of sense of accomplishment to anything. You feel like you're not getting anywhere with something, so you're consistently working towards something over and over and over, and you're not getting at a place that you want to be, or you're not making any steady progress. And it varies. It's outside factors, inside factors. It can be internal and external. It can be from other people, whether it's your coaches, your teammates. You may feel some kind of weight on your shoulder that you have to pull, and you're not pulling, and your teammates may, frown upon you for not doing that, or your coaches may get on you for not doing that. Or it can just be, inside, where you feel like you're not performing the way you need to perform. And when you feel a certain way like that over time, your mind can only handle so much, and you start to, have that doubt. You start to, get inside your own head. And when you're too busy thinking about things like that, then that starts to affect your daily life. For me, example was basketball. As many of you know, I played college sports for the year 2023 to 2024. That was the last time, I participated in a collegiate event, basketball and track, actually. And I transferred to a university with the intent of walking on, and I'm still working on, doing so. However, it's been a very, very hard transition for me. Constantly working on something, and feeling like you're just really stuck in the same spot. It's humbling, and it's draining. It got to a point where I couldn't get into a gym. I hated. I couldn't lift weights. I didn't want to. I hated it, which is weird for me because I loved it, or I love it. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to play basketball. I didn't want to do anything. I couldn't get into a routine. I just couldn't. I hated where I was at. I hated myself, and it's a very dark area and a dark place to be in, because anything can happen. When you are in a burnout, the first thing you need to do is bring self-awareness and realize and figure out what is giving you the burnout. There's always something giving you a burnout. It's not just you're in a burnout. No, there's always something. There's always a factor, whether it's internal or external, like I said, that is feeding you that. So you need to sit down with yourself alone, quietly, and really think about what it is that is making you feel that way. Because as long as you are clueless about why or where that burnout is coming from, you're going to be stuck in that same place. You're going to be going in circles. So one, you need to take a step back and figure out what it is. Like I said, for me, it was basketball. As much as I love the game, that was the thing that was making me feel the way that I was feeling. So once you figure that part out, two, you need to take a step back from it. Okay. As much as that sounds, or as crazy as that sounds, like, why would you step away from something that you love so much? That's a great question. I wish I had an answer for that straight up, but it's like as if you're in a very toxic relationship. You don't want to sit in a relationship with someone that's being toxic over and over. As much as you love them, you got to realize, like, hey, like, this is enough. Like, I can't be in that place. Same thing with, sports or whatever kind of environment is giving you that burnout. So you need to take a step back from it, and a complete step back from it. So for me, when I figured out that it was basketball, I didn't touch a basketball for about like 2.5 weeks. Which, of course, obviously I missed it and stuff, but at the time I didn't want to go back to something that was making me feel the way that I was feeling. I wasn't getting nothing done. I wasn't getting schoolwork done. It just genuinely I wasn't in a place that I wanted to be in. So that brings me to number 3. Go find a hobby. Hobbies. You need to go find yourself. Find things that give you a huge amount of dopamine. Find something that makes you feel good. For me, I enjoy cleaning my apartment. I like cooking. I like cleaning. It sounds crazy, but it's stuff that kind of made me happy. So once I did those things, I kind of got into a sense of where I started thinking clearly again. I felt like I was in a place where I could start and rebuild again, and that's exactly what I did. About a week of doing that, I started bringing in, back the factors of things again. I started finding the love for basketball again when I finally touched the rock. Content making, things like that. You just sometimes you really just have to take a break. And I hated taking breaks. Like, breaks were, Khalil, take a break from this. Calm down. It's okay. Rest. I hated it. I felt like if I wasn't up working for what I wanted, I would fall behind. I wouldn't get to where I wanted to be. But it's in fact the complete opposite. Sometimes you gotta give your body a break. You gotta give your mind a break. And the only way you can do that is step away from what is taking away your time and taking away your energy negatively. So, self-awareness. Figure out what is giving you that burnout. 2, take a complete step back from it. 100%. Take a complete step back from it. Forget about it. And 3, go find other hobbies, because you're not just what you're working towards. If you are an elite basketball player, you are not just a basketball player. You're not. If you're you could be a 5-star football player. You're not just a football player. You are that. You are yourself. You're that person who loves to play football. You know what I mean? I love basketball. I'm not a basketball player. I'm just someone who loves the game of basketball, but also, likes to do these things. You can't associate yourself and make those your identity, because when your passion or whatever it is that you love is not, when you're not gaining a sense of, happiness from it, you lose yourself. You do. So I realized that I'm not just a basketball player. I'm Khalil, who loves to play basketball, but I have all these other hobbies as well, which is why I took that step back, because I went to go do those other hobbies that make me feel great. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what everyone should do. Everyone has their own hobbies, and if you don't know what your hobbies are, take a step back, like I said, and go find them, because they will save you in the future, I promise you. So, that's it for this video. I know it can sound a little bit, boring, but like I said, I feel like things like that are super important to share. And I feel like people, tend to overlook, this kind of aspect. But I promise you, if you listen to this and you follow these steps, it will save you a ton of time, especially when you're in a burnout and you don't know how to get out of it. I want you to try these things, and you'll see exactly how effective they are. So that's it for this video, guys. Like I said, if you love the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, give me ideas, some stuff that you guys want me to make. And as always, thank you.